Carter Brandon bounded upstairs, threw open the door of the bedroom and said,
"All right. What's all this playing at silly buggers, then?"
"I'm not playing silly buggers, Carter. This is the final end, lad. The last countdown. I can hear God shouting in a stentorian voice like the steward of the Old Comrades Club. Come on in, Mort. Your time's up."
Rubbish.
It's not, lad. This is the finale of life's long, slow journey through the vale of tears and the mountain crags of despair. And those bloody awful rock cakes your mother buys on Friday nights from the dinky bakery.
It's chocolate macaroons she buys on Fridays.
Pedant. Oh, I want to die in my own bed, Carter. When you've served all through the First World War like me, you don't want to die in someone else's bed. You certainly don't want to die in a strange bed in the south. For a true northerner, lad, dying in the south is a fate worse than death. They'd never give me life membership of the celestial branch of the Old Comrades. They'd make me play eternal rink balls instead of Crown Green every other Friday. And they'd be certain to bung me in the 3rd Division South, instead of the lower reaches of the 3rd Division North where I belong.
All right, you win. I'll ring to the doctor.
Oh, you're a good lad, Carter. I wish you'd been born, my son, instead of our Cyril. He got decapitated in a cycle race, did our Cyril.
I know.
I kept telling him he were asking for trouble riding with his head down. When he were a lad, he were a devil for eating dog biscuits, were our Cyril. If I'd been a caring father, I'd have bought him a packet of Bonio for Christmas. Sins and omissions, Carter. All those regrets in life. Why did I never give due credit to the achievements of Max Schmeling? Why did I never carry Mother's shopping or fill in her pool's coupon when she were dying in the cottage hospital? Why the hell did I support Portsmouth in the FA Cup final of '39?
He rang for the doctor. He was prompt in his arrival. He wore green golf socks. He examined Uncle Mort, and then he took Carter Brandon outside into the corridor and said,
"It's nothing serious, Mr. Brandon. He's got a mild dose of heat stroke. Mind you, at his age, you'll need watching. I've given him some tablets, and I do think it might be as well to get him home as soon as you can."
Right.
By the way, do you happen to know how Glamorgan got on against Sussex at Hove?
No.
Oh, blast. I'll have to buy an evening paper.
Carter Brandon went downstairs, drank a pint of strong German Pilsner and 2 whiskey chasers, and rang home.
"About time too, Carter. What's the weather like? Oh, and another thing. Have you been faithful to me?"
Yes.
"Good. And I've been faithful to you, even though I have ordered a kidney-shaped dressing table from Atkinson Sivwrights in flamingo pink with simulated gold fittings." "Are you certain you've been faithful, Carter?"
Yes.
"Good. In that case, I'll order the matching comb and brush set in replica tortoiseshell."
Right. I'll be seeing you then.
"Hold on. Is that all you've got to say? Haven't you forgotten something important, what a man always says to his wife when he's away from home?"
Oh, aye. Me Uncle Mort's got heat stroke and he thinks he's going to snuff it.
"What?"
There's nothing to worry about. I know he's got this funny look in his eyes and...
At that moment he ran out of 10p pieces. So he put the phone down, drank 3 slow double whiskies, and presently returned to the bedroom to keep vigil over his Uncle Mort.
I've got a confession to make, Carter.
Oh, aye. And what's that?
I nearly married a southerner. She were a girl, too.
Well, that'd come in handy, I suppose.
She were a grand lass with Sarah. I met her in Bognor Regis, when I were on convalescent leave in the First World War. She were entertaining the troops on her Jew's harp. It were love at first sight.
Well, it would be.
She'd little feet, no bigger than a sparrow, had Sarah. And she got a soft voice. And she didn't laugh like a rusty mangle and dig you in the ribs with her elbows when she cracked a joke.
She sounds smashing.
Oh, she were, lad. She were. She took me home to see her mum and dad. And they'd got soft voices too. And their lino wasn't cracked on the landing. And her mum baked ice buns for tea. And her dad showed me his stamp collection, and I fell in love with her there and then and resolved to marry her.
So why didn't you?
I'll tell you. When we finished tea, her father took me into the front parlour, and Sarah smiled at me coyly, and her mum nodded encouragingly, and her father sat me down on the sofa, and he said, "Now look here, shitface. If I catch you pestering my daughter again, you'll get the toe of my boot up your arse, you understand?"
And what happened?
Well, the inevitable, pillock. I finished me ice buns and went home and married your Auntie Edna. Sins and omissions, lad. Such regrets.
He fell asleep. His lips dribbled. He mumbled. He muttered. Carter Brandon kept watch all night by his Uncle Mort's bedside. In the morning he yawned, stretched, shaved, sprinkled his socks with foot powder, and went down to breakfast. The girl with the rimless spectacles and the white ankle socks was sitting in the lobby reading her own personal copy of The Dalesman. He heard the voice of Uncle Mort whispering in his ears.
Sins and omissions, lad. Such regrets. Such regrets.
He paused. He coughed. Then he said,
Morning, ducks. I was wondering if you'd fancy a stroll on the quay.
The girl blushed. She hesitated. Then she said,
I wouldn't mind. Do you think I'd need a cardigan?
And at that moment, Pat walked into the lobby.
Right then, Carter. Where is he?
He's upstairs in the bedroom. And this young lady here is part of a Methodist delegation from Selby Humberside, and she's very religious, and she's going to be on Songs of Praise on the telly.
Oh, lead on. Show me where he is.
Carter Brandon took her upstairs. She marched into the bedroom. She did not pause. She kicked the side of the bed and shouted,
You! On your hind legs!
Uncle Mort opened his eyes slowly. When he saw Pat, he sprang out of bed and said,
Are we going home, then?
Yes, at once.
Champion. You've not got no bologna sandwiches in your handbag, have you?
No.
They drove home in silence. When they arrived at the house, Pat rested her head on Carter Brandon's shoulder and said,
Well then, Carter, is it nice to be home?
Yes.
Later that evening, as they sat in the billiard room of the Old Comrades Club, drinking strong bitter beer and eating meat and potato pies with strong northern congealed gravy, Uncle Mort said,
It's grand to be back in the north, Carter. There's just one thing bothering me, though. I wonder if they've still got soft kisses in Bognor Regis.
I don't know. But I bet they have in Selby Humberside.
That was The End of the Road. Stephen Thorne played Uncle Mort, Sam Kelly was Carter Brandon, and Liz Golding was Pat and the young girl. Dr. A.I. Shockstrain appeared as himself, and the narrator was Christian Rodska. Uncle Mort's South Country was written by Peter Tinniswood and produced by Pete Atkin.